Randy, after Game 1, it seemed the consensus was that the mistakes made in the opener were easily correctable. What have you worked on in practice over the last couple of days, and do you think those mistakes have been worked out?
Again, I think when you do the review that the mistakes that we made some were self-inflicted and some were because the opposition put pressure on us in situations and we didn't handle the pressure very well. And what we've tried to do is just try to up the tempo of moving the puck. And when there's a man ahead of you, move it to him. Obviously, they have a scheme in their neutral ice that wants to prevent us from skating through there, and we have to do a better job of puck management in our own zone and through the neutral ice.
How might the possibility of a lineup change spark your group Saturday night?
Well, we're going to make decisions based upon, as we always do, on who's going to give us the best chance for success, and we'll have some changes, as I said yesterday.
Bad in overdrive?
A few times, yeah. I got lots of paper.
If Gardner plays tomorrow, Randy, can you increase that tempo you're talking about out of your own zone?
Oh, that's one of his assets. Obviously, one of his strengths is his skating ability, and he can skate the puck out. And, we're going to look for that out of all of our defensemen.
Good to see Franson out there, especially.
Yeah, we felt yesterday that he was going to be available to us today. So we knew that, that it wouldn't be a prolonged injury. But again, those things hurt, and the hurts of the game, you have to push that by the wayside, and he's got 48 hours from when the incident did occur for him to get himself healthy, and we fully expect him to be able to play.
What has he done in the past this season, Randy, to get himself in the spot that he's in where he was at this time last year?
Well, again, I think he's made a contribution from a standpoint of his strengths. He's an offensive defenseman, a good first pass. He's played the point in the power play. So there's a lot of things that he's been able to do, and I think the first thing is he came to camp and he was in much better shape than he was at the end of last year versus the beginning of this year.
The nine guys playing their first playoff game on Wednesday. What do you hope they took away from that experience?
Just that all it is it's a little bit more raucous, it's a little bit more physical, and a lot more noise. Other than that, it's still a game played on an ice surface that hasn't changed in size. It might have shrunk when their feeling of it because the puck was bouncing away from us versus bouncing for us.
Randy, you've been doing this for a long time. Why do you think the team wasn't able to stick to the plan in Game 1?
I've said that before. I really don't. It leaves coaches scratching their head, and I think we made some mistakes, and then it just multiplied. But again, if we had the answer to that, probably be a lot richer man.
Do you feel the message has got through then, what needs to be done for this one?
Well, I think you'll ask the question, do I think? Of course I think it's gotten through, but the results are what's going to determine whether it has or hasn't.
Randy, as a coach, when a young player like Nazem stops moving his feet and reverts back to, trying to make too many plays with his hands, what do you do to snap him out of that puck as a coach, or is it up to him?
Well, the thing with Nazi, it just hasn't been something that's, was displayed over the last game. It's been something that's been happening here for a little bit longer than that, and we've addressed it, and we'll continue to address it. We'll show him, and he will view his shifts, and we'll show him in the areas in which we think there's a difference, and we know what kind of player he is. We know that when he moves his feet, he can create things, but if he's standing still, and he's not really any different than any other player. I don't think there's a player in the league that can do things standing still on an ice surface when everybody else is skating. So it's pretty simple.
Back to Gardner for a sec, Randy. If he does get in, what does he have to do tomorrow night to make him successful that he wasn't doing that kept him out of the lineup before? Do you think?
I think again that the tenacity on the defensive side of it has to be noticeable, much more noticeable than it was before. And he's worked extremely hard at that. And we've talked to him, and in practice he's been a great young man as far as his work ethic, and he's going to try and do his best. That's all we're going to ask him to do. We're not going to ask him to do anything more than what his skill set allows him to do. He's a special young player in his skating ability and move the puck, and that's what he's going to come and do.
Randy, there's been a lot of talk about the hit on Ella last night, the Montreal play. Did you see it, and do you have any views on the hit?
Well, I saw it, but to me it's in another series. I really don't focus on what's happening in the other series to make comments on things that are happening. I think it's better served. I've got enough worries in my own backyard here to deal with, so we'll just let it at that. Obviously, it's a vicious body check, and you don't like to see a player get hurt. But again, it's not up to me to determine if it's a suspendable offense.
How about one game for Ference?
That's what they deemed was applied in this situation. He elbowed our player, and you live with the decision that they make. And we feel it was warranted more. I don't think it's up to us to comment. We abide by the rules in which the league put in place. And as I said yesterday, I've made comments historically, and it cost me money, so I'm not doing it anymore.
Can you expose the Bruins defense then, Randy? They might have a much younger kid in there tomorrow night.
I don't like to talk about exposing. I think we should focus on what we do. And we know the type of hockey club that Boston has, and they've had injuries through the course of the year as we have had, and they're going to have other people that are going to come and step in. And they're going to be looking for those guys to make it a seamless transition. Obviously, if Ference plays a lot of minutes as one of their leaders, but again, it's a team game. It's not one individual that wins and loses your hockey games.
What's kept MacArthur from having success offensively lately?
Oh, I don't know. I think that in a lot of ways there's things in the area the puck seems to bounce away from. I think he gets frustrated with himself. I think he's a guy that takes a lot of that on him and isn't able to shake it. He can't carry it around. He's got to let it go, and from shift to shift, I think those things are confidence issues that he's got to overcome.